So, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Intellect must be active. If the intellect is not active in Mangala Charan, it will not work. So what the intellect perceives? It perceives unauthorized occupant of the mind. And it is helping you to move to the happiness. That is the job of the Mangala Charan. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Even now, your mind is wandering somewhere else, and you bring it back. That is the meaning. You are amputing, you are removing the unauthorized occupant of the mind. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness for all, and may there be auspiciousness for all. What exactly we are doing by the Mangala Charan? I have reached to that point. Last week we talked about authorized and unauthorized occupant. Now what happens? These unauthorized occupants are overwhelming your mind. You will forget to practice. You will forget to practice. You can open your eyes. So if you forget to practice, that forgetfulness is your delusion, and that is your ignorance. Your mind doesn't imagine. Look at this person who is meditating. Your mind, that unauthorized occupant, is looking at the person who is absolutely busy, who has a lot of stress, who has anxiety, and that is why you forget. That depends on what is the meaning of the mantra. I'm reminding you. Mantra. The meaning of the mantra is that it destroys the unauthorized occupant of the mind. Mantra, mind, tra, destruction. That is another meaning. I should become aware when the mind gets crowded. And the mantra is your eviction notice. David was saying something about eviction. Repetition is the key. You reclaim your inner peace, and your essential self awaits. Otherwise, it will not work. Regular discernment and dispassion leads to recognition of the inner wealth of the mind. That is our topic. But can you answer one question, that why I inspire you to share your reflection in a session? Think of it. First reason is that your intellect should follow the contemplation and reflection. You are listening and learning like Google. You collect the information and you don't contemplate and reflect. It will not work. But you have to contemplate and reflect in line with the principles of Eastern wisdom, not your own whims and fancies. It will not work. But it doesn't happen in the physics. No, it happens in every discipline. You have to, if you want to know more about matter, electron, proton, and neutron, matter, and ultimately quantum physics, you have to contemplate, reflect in line with the physics or chemistry or biology. So it means you should be aware of these principles. But if you don't repeat it, you will forget it. Why you forget, I have already answered it. But the most important, this is happening only in this group. the most important reason for inspiring you to reflect and contemplate on the session, you know what is that? The teachers of Eastern wisdom wants the seekers to be independent of the teacher. That doesn't happen in the modern coaching. No, we have to teach you something. Remember this. If you keep that goal in your mind, I have to be independent, it is always good to share. If you don't want to share, it's okay. Eastern wisdom. Think of this. Eastern wisdom is a study to study yourself, to awaken yourself, to bring an end to the suffering and awaken to permanent peace and happiness. I have been talking about this. I am frantic, I am into anxiety, I am reacting, trying to catch a flickering light outside, representing happiness I will never get. I will not forget. But if I forget, I have to continue the journey. I forget because I am chasing happiness outside in the world, either in a person or in a relationship. What exactly is the forgetfulness in this case? So I am seeking happiness outside, means I have a binding desire. I have a binding desire means I have an attachment. I have an attachment means there is a sense of forgetfulness. Think of this along this line. It never happens. I wake up in the morning and yes, you are totally absorbed into it. That paves the way to the sama. You let go of the attachment. First you did the Mangalacharan and now you recognize no forgetfulness. Letting go of attachment, connecting with the real self. But why you don't forget, there is a background. That is what we have done in the last, perhaps, how many sessions? Let me see, on the 6 treasures. Today's session is 24th. So in the last 23 sessions we have been talking about the basic principles. We did not talk directly about these 6 treasures. We understood why we get hit by the word, what to do, what is the goal of life, what is the goals in life, what exactly is the end of suffering, how to follow the Mangalacharan, listening and learning, contemplation and reflection, practice and experience, daily analysis, how we can point out that I'm able to change my behavior and attitude and emotion. I don't need to shy. I have to express myself in all my relationships, starting from home to profession to society, so that I could see that there is a change is coming. And perhaps I summarized that in what I did. Perhaps I did it in this session also. Shruti, SYA, Shruti, Yukti. Yeah, I also did in the Saturday session. Shruti, Yukti, and Anubhuti. I have a direct experience. So Shruti, listening, learning, contemplation and reflection, logical reasoning. But when I put the logical reasoning, I find the first 8 steps helps me at every moment in my life, in my personal, professional and social life. It makes me believe that the true freedom is internal. True freedom is internal. When there is an external conflict and a forgetfulness, it is not a tragedy. I have to go back to these 8 steps. I'm not repeating it, I have repeated many times. Then what happens? You embrace the 6 treasures. 3 points I have discussed. Let us discuss the fourth point. Fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh point only about Sama, or you can say 6 treasures. The first, based on what you have understood until now, Master says there are fourfold practices: discernment, dispassion, 6 treasures, intense desire. So if you continue to practice discernment and dispassion in life, you need not to worry, even need not to think about the 6 treasures. They will come on their own. Until it reaches to a point where you have an intense desire. What is that intense desire? To know, to feel, to have a direct experience of the real self. So these four paths to a clutter-free mind. And the first 2 steps lays a foundation: discernment and dispassion. So you think of discernment, dispassion, 6 treasures, intense desire. Discernment and dispassion, 99% it is internal, mental. It talks about mental and emotional maturity. We don't have time. We don't have time, the mind is already available. Either the mind is busy, mind has forgotten, mind is seeking happiness outside. I lose the discernment and dispassion. 6 treasures is a far cry. Think of this. Intellect, the mind must act mentally, emotionally. You wake up in the morning, oh, let me grab a cup of tea first before I practice Mangalacharan. You like the coffee, let me do it. It hardly takes 5 minutes. And in the meantime, after that, I'll grab a cup of coffee. Your mind will automatically follow this. The inner calm is what evicts your unauthorized occupant by the discernment and dispassion. That is connected to the last session. If you follow the discernment and dispassion, it evicts your unauthorized occupants. What is that? Likes and dislikes on a particular object, people, relationship, greed, pride, jealousy. That blocks your path. First thing, discern what? What is real? Detach what? Where I have posed happiness. Develop what? 6 treasures. Then the desire becomes the intense desire for. So it gradually dilutes and dissolves your 6 enemies. I'm not talking of the 6 enemies, you already know it. Sama. Now, Sama, second factor of the Sama, we discussed about it, but I'm changing a bit. You think, speak, and act with discernment and dispassion to awaken to. This is an action part. This is the summary of the 8 steps. This is the summary of the 8 steps. That you think, speak, and act out of discernment and dispassion. Don't think, speak, and act out of depression. There is a hard, dispassion, I'm saying. I believe you heard it rightly. Huh? Not a depression. But so once you practice the first one and now you allow the mind to think, speak, and act. Think, speak, and act out of discernment and dispassion. Second part of the sama. Second way to gain the sama. Third, we have already done last week. What is the etymology of it? Sama is a masculine, active, dynamic state of the peace. Shanti, which is a feminine, which is almost passive. So our mind is fully aware of the passive state of the peace. Oh, let me relax, let me grab a cup of tea, let me sit down, let me sleep. All helps us to move to the passive state. But sama, that is why the first treasure is the active peace. Mind is available 100%. Why? Because I have to respond to you. Because I have to communicate with you. Because I have to do my personal job. I have to fulfill my professional activity. Do you see that? Do you see that? Third point. First point I said discernment and dispassion. If you continue to follow, normally even great seeker miss in the beginning. Mind goes there. First point. Second point is the think, speak, and act out of discernment and dispassion, which includes all the first 8 steps. You have to include that. Third, the etymology, the dynamic state. It means the peace is not that I have to close my eyes and sleep. No, mind is 100% available. And this third one. And the fourth one, we define calm the storm within. Don't worry about what is happening outside. Active peace means I have to live into the dynamic state of the peace within me. Fourth point, dynamic state of the peace within me. Did you understand the first understanding of the sama? I said you continue to practice discernment and dispassion. And it is a gradual process. It is a progressive path. It will help you to awaken to all the 6 treasures. Second is because now I practice discernment and dispassion, I have to think, speak, and act. Reference point, first 8 steps. That will help me to awaken to the sama. Third step, directly, the dynamic state of the peace. It is an active peace. I understand. Active peace, I have to think, speak, and act in my life. What that means? That simply means sama, mind is 100% available to me. Without discernment and dispassion, it is not available to me. If I don't understand the worldly defects and the worldly desire, my mind is not 100% available to me. It is available to that objects of the pleasure. You have to reflect on this. The fourth point, we already discussed that you have to calm down the storm inside. You have to check, is your mind like a stormy lake, choppy, muddy? I'm talking and you're sleeping, unable to reflect anything clearly. So you will not be able to reflect. What if you could learn to calm that storm? You have to calm that storm with it. That is the core of the sama. That is the core. Patanjali says, empty the contents of the mind and reflect on the sama. I'm adding one more point. Patanjali, in the very beginning, the second sutra of the first chapter, it says, yoga is emptying the contents of the mind, not control. What are those contents? Unauthorized. Now you understand clearly? That is the fourth point. Mind is a tool. You have to understand. Summarizing, where is the summary? The today's lesson. Discernment, dispassion, sama. Second point, conscious evolution means discerning intellect. You move to the dispassion, that is emotional resilience, and ultimately it awakens to the six treasures. So that is the thinking, speaking, and acting part. Mastery of the mind. When the mind is mastered, you have a tremendous energy. You won't feel tired and feel sleepy and lazy at any point of time. So then there is a clarity and focus. Fourth point, in a modern psychological term, you can say there is a focused attention inside. It brings an emotional resilience. Emotional resilience helps you to get rid of the unauthorized occupants. They simply drop by themselves. You need not to drop. Anxiety, reaction, duality, jealousy, and hatred. With all respect, in the third point is the inner clarity. But with due respect to the modern psychology, there is no anger management. Anger is an unauthorized occupant. You empty it, finished. Unnecessary, anger, you cannot manage your anger. You cannot manage your anxiety. It is unauthorized occupant. It is over objectification. I'm not challenging, but just think of it. Letters open to. Remember this. This is the only group session. Private sessions, are different because there is a more interaction. So, did I tell you what I told you? That if you miss the session, it is your choice. But this session, this group is so that you become independent. You have a clarity, and that too instantly. Let us open to what we say? The platform is yours. Who is going to take over?
I'll share.
Yeah.
Thank you. When you said get your tea and then do Mangalacharan, I remember when I first joined this group and started practicing, and I couldn't sit for 30 seconds, and the breathing and all of that felt so challenging. And over the course of a couple of years now, really, that's, I don't even have tea until way after I do my practice. And so I guess the idea for me is that I think sometimes I lack faith that, whoa, look at the progress and look at how I'm handling things with much more ease, and what else is possible if we continue on the path and continue to make more space and time for the contemplation and the practice.
Beautifully said. That's the way a seeker communicates. What a progress I have made. And what else lies in the future? Unlimited possibilities. Unlimited. Infinite possibilities. I have picked up only one text. Until we pick up the Upanishads, we live into that state all the time, 24 by unlimited possibilities are there. Beautifully said, wonderful. How are you, Dennis? Let me take Dennis and then.
First of all, I appreciate your statement that you want us to be independent of the teacher. I think that is very important because at the end of the day, each of us is responsible for one's progress, and whether we discover what we are seeking for or we do not discover. That's our own responsibility, and it is very important to discover that inner teacher who is going to guide us at the when the physical teacher is not available for any reason. And then I wanted to reflect on forgetfulness. Some thoughts came to my mind that the state, this word forgetfulness is different in Eastern wisdom and in our everyday life, because as we have a lot of information in the mind and in our everyday life, when we need a particular piece of information, we make some effort and we retrieve that information. And if we are not able to retrieve it, then this is referred to as forgetfulness.
Yes.
But when we are talking about Eastern wisdom and the path of the seeker, I think that it is not possible to go this way of making an effort and retrieving every principle that would be applicable to every possible situation. So the understanding, the penetration of principles should be available to us. It should be like in front of our mind all the time. And the other thoughts, the other goals, the other activities, they should not be able to push that information to the back of the mind. It should stay with us. It should stay at the front all the time. And when it goes to the back and something else goes up front, then this is, I think, is referred to as forgetfulness in the Eastern wisdom. It is just a lack of awareness of what the real goal is in life, and when we are getting lost in habitual and usual thoughts and activities. So the tools that help us to recover that knowledge of principles and make it available at all times is in discernment and dispassion, I think.
Yes. You picked up a beautiful point that I will tell you. Forgetfulness, memory. You have explained it beautifully. When I say I forget, I am aware of myself that I forget. Are you getting it? I am aware that I forget. So I do not forget myself. I do not forget myself. So, by these practices, principles, yes, you are right that it is very challenging to remember all these principles. But if we continue to follow these principles, the time comes, it will become your principles. They are your principles. You need not to, you will not never forget it. It is the memory of the consciousness. Explore, and then I will leave your point here. Explore further what I said, that I forget where I have kept the keys of my car. Am I aware of myself? Yes. Am I aware of myself? Yes. But I miss that awareness also. I miss the self awareness because my mind is totally objectified. Think of this. It is always present. The memory, that is why I explained you, the memory of the consciousness is always there. Memory of the consciousness cannot fade away. Short-term memory, long-term memory, dementia, etc. It's about memory of the mind. Modern psychology has yet to practice that. Yes, Stephen.
Thank you, sir. I'm very in tune to the principles and this path, and every one of these lessons is just a continuous reminder of staying the course and the principles involved, and through the contemplation and reflection, the discernment and dispassion, it's brought me to a place more recently of focusing solely on inside and out, and not allowing the outside affect what's going on. And it brought me more recently than ever to back to the mind, and I don't want to get into the objectification of the mind, but I've started to realize that there's three pieces of the mind: the real self, the past impressions, and the expectations of the what my perception rather than reality. And I'm starting to understand that if I look at my past impressions and recognize them, accept that they happened, and realize that they happened, that has absolutely nothing to do with right now. And expectations or perceptions is my my looking at something that is outside of myself. So that's not right either. And if I could negate those two parts of the objectified mind, it leaves me with the real self. And in the real self, I'm learning that it's the peace that exists between the other two thoughts coming from the mind. And I've experienced it, I've been there, and those moments are starting to become longer and longer. So I thank you for that.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yes, stick to that. Let me simplify. Mind number one, like a baseline consciousness. You have to directly experience baseline consciousness. Mind is not doing anything, it does not have any motivation to act, but still awareness is there. It is like an animal awareness. I gave an example. The dog is sitting there watching me. For example, my pet. I don't have any pet. So, unless you show the bite of the foot, there is no hesitation. There is no motivation. So that is the mind number one. So I have to be aware of the mind number one. Mind number two is the discerning intellect. You apply the discerning a discernment and dispassion. The third mind is the default mind, which is impulsive, based on the past impression, duality. Stick to that and just analyze in real life situation how mind is absorbed in some attraction, some likes and dislikes. It is a default mind. So it moved from the baseline mind number 1 to mind number 3. Introduce the mind number 2, mentally and emotionally, and you will see the difference. So everyone has to follow the independent path. That is what I revealed today, that you have to be independent means you have those principles, but your interpretation is your own. Beautifully said. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you. Kind of the perspective or the realization when Christine was talking about reflecting on the practice and the practice being independent from the teacher. I too started to realize, just as I'm sitting here looking at how the application of Eastern wisdom in the day-to-day life is making a difference for me. But the big rocks and the little rocks, and a lot of it's been going to the big rocks, but I was also reflecting on the little rocks, as I call them. And Dree and I were playing backgammon the other day, and I was getting very attached to winning. And then I finally just stepped back and said, it's not about winning or losing, it's about enjoying the adventure and the journey. So it's not just the big things in life, it's the little things that matter, but it's everywhere. So thank you.
Beautifully said. Yes, progress. Progress means that I'm moving towards more inner calmness and the joy and the peace. There is a heightened state of awareness in my thought, speech, and action. That is what we need to check. That will make you independent. Yes, you're right. That will make me independent. But why masters have been explaining somewhere in the background that ego returns. And that causes the problem. So that is why, we are studying from the front end by all the steps and then the back end. What exactly is the summa? Yes, Jerry.
Thank you, sir. I think the Sama being our focus for the last several months now, it seems, it highlights for us, it reveals for us that that deep desire that we all share, which is that freedom and the peace and everything that is intrinsic to our nature. It reveals that to us. So we get these glimpses because we've set that value in our mind for the Sama. And now we think about the Sama and our mind being 100% available to us. And right away we recognize when it's not. And I just think that that's the beauty of these treasures that you're helping us to see. Because that's what everyone wants. And we have the ability to have that all the time. And so once we start proving it, then we'll have more and more experiences with it.
Beautiful. You prove it in your life. It means I'm experiencing, I have a direct experiences. So during the last almost 20 sessions, we laid the foundation that is meant for all the 6 treasures. And now we are directly hitting on the first treasure is the Sama. The dynamic aspect, the passive aspect of the Sama. Beauty, you said one more beautiful. I recognize this Sama within. When I don't recognize it, it is a forgetfulness. But why it is a forgetfulness? The master answers, it may be a binding desire. But why there is a binding desire? Because I have an attachment. So at any point of time, I should become aware, I have started getting attached here. Can I drop it? The moment you drop, you can find the sama is already pulsating in you. It is there. It is there. It is there. It is present, very much present there. Let us start our practice. Close your eyes. Stage 1. Last time I said discerning intellect and default mind check. Based on that, you follow the journey. So it becomes more intrinsic and internalized practice. Don't lay over emphasis on the externalities. So in the first stage, you have a place, position, and posture. Can you check with reference to the discerning intellect and the default mind? Being comfortable, discerning intellect. Discerning intellect says it is all about change of direction of the mind. The mind going anywhere outside, it has either likes or dislikes. So how you get absorbed into a deeper meditation, you apply the discerning intellect from the very beginning, and you find there is a sensation, comfort, and steadiness. In the stage 1 only, we move to being carefree. So discernment is separation. Object and subject, knower and the known. There are 5 texts. People go to study all those 5 texts which discusses in detail about the knower and the known, seer and the seen. That is, I picked up the fraction of that, which is very important principle. So that leads us to being carefree. You are looking inside, you change the direction, moving away from the world. It means the world is the seen and there is a seer inside, self-awareness. And then we help the mind to settle where? Within. A couple of you have shared that. So what it means, discernment and dispassion continues to work. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. You see place, position, posture, being comfortable and carefree. The mind is living in self-awareness. Can I say that? Or can I say it is the discerning intellect? Both way it works. Mind has changed the direction and then it is digging deep inside down. May there be happiness for all. May there be peace for all. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Do you still remember the mantra or you forgot it? Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be completeness for all. May there be auspiciousness for all. And which is beyond the 6 neighbors. Which is beyond the 6 neighbors. It is you can say discernment and dispassion is working, or you can say 8 steps are working, or whatever your mind, your level of evolution comes out with your own interpretation. Every interpretation is accepted. So 6 neighbors. Can you remember those 6 neighbors? First neighbor is the word outside. Yes, why it is the neighbor? Because I am not the word. I am conscious. The word as such is a non-conscious, material, changing entity. You see, you remember a lot of things. Second neighbor is the body, the physical. Oh, the physical body, yes. Your mind reminds you there is a physical body, there is a subtle body, there is a causal body. Physical body is changing. I am not 70 years old. Example, my body is 70 years old. I am not the body. Clarity, more clarity comes. And then the subtle body has three components: the energy, the mind, and the intellect, or the I-ness. So the energy body, I'm not the energy body. Mind, likes and dislikes, I'm not the mind. Ego and the I maker, I'm not the I maker. So we have done the five, and the sixth one is the ignorance, the causal. The causal body is just the ignorant body. How come? Do I know myself? No, I had some glimpses, but not fully. That is ignorant body, causal body. Your expression is causal body. And behind that, beyond that, transcending that, is our real self. We cut short of the second stage. We will not do the active steps of breathing today. Just pay attention to the flow of the breath. If I say you are aware of the flow of the breath, means presence, observer of the breath. Presence and observer of the breath. If I say the witness of the breath in the state of, can you remind yourself, place, position, and it is all about discerning intellect and the mind. It has nothing to do with any activity. Place, position, and posture. Sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Sensation, relax, and stillness. That is being carefree. And away, if I say away from six neighbors. I articulated the six neighbors, the six treasures, and the six enemies. So at least you don't forget it. But here we are talking of the six neighbors. So I picked up the flow of the breath, And that flow of the breath, you can just, you can have a glimpse of all the steps, all the 8 steps, but at a later stage. That will make you an independent. Oh, this is what is happening. The mind, discerning intellect, recognizing attachment, worldly defects, pleasure in the world, no. Binding desire, yes. Then it just flashes to your mind, and the mind remains with the flow of the breath. It is witness of the breath in the state of place, position, posture, sensation, comfort, and steadiness, sensation, relaxation, and you feel as if you are away from those 6 neighbors. For what? For 6 treasures. And then we move to the stage 3, which is also the flow of the breath, plus 1 addition. What is that addition? that addition, that you find the space, you find the space, and in that space you drop Om Shanti. You drop Om Shanti. So this step is this step has 2 pointers. What are those 2 pointers? Let us go through it. Flow of the breath, yes. Presence is yes. If you remember the poise, I just talked about it 2 weeks ago. So the presence, the poise, the presence is there. In that presence, you are an observer. That covers your place, position, and posture, sensation, comfort, and steadiness, sensation, relaxation, and stillness. So now the presence, just presence is just a self-awareness. That is so simple. Observer. You are an observer. And then observer, the third point comes the witness. Or investigate, I use the word investigate in poise. So here is the investigator. So what happens in the investigate? You find the space, and in that space you drop non-verbally Om Shanti. It is a higher step. Then we drop the Om Shanti by notifying the segments. But I put it first. Why? To make you independent. So you need not to worry if the mind started wandering anywhere, no issue. You remember presence, observer, covers, and then you drop the Om Shanti. It will become very easy for you now to drop Om Shanti on the 16 segments of fingers. Just try it out. Start dropping Om Shanti on the... No worries, if it doesn't happen today, it's okay. I'll make all the 16, 17 steps clear to you so that you, anytime, anywhere, you so we move to the stage number 3, and in the same stage you move the mind inside the heart, visualize the triangle, drop Om Shanti on each side of the triangle, checking the sync. Mind is so much, if I use the word, habituated, automated, to be aware of the triangle moving and sinking clockwise and anti-clockwise. And when there is a sink, that is the time singing loudly in your mind, pushing the mind deep inside the cave of your heart. Mind seems to stop, you drop Shanti, you transition to the stage 4. So what is this? Can I say that it is the same? I was talking about baseline awareness. In baseline awareness, it is basically, we say, the animal awareness. But here it is extreme self-awareness. It is self-absorption and waiting. Discerning intellect keeps the self-absorption. You are aware of it. So we have to understand one is self-absorption and another is deep sleep. It is not a deep sleep now. Self-absorption, but I'm aware. Why am... You know what happens in the self-aware? The Trinity is gone. There are 3 aspects that we will talk later. That is how Patanjali explains meditation. Knower, known and the knowing. Out of the 3, the 2 merges together. So knowing remains, the knower and the known merges. That is how Patanjali defines meditation. We'll go. Just continue that journey. And in that stage number 4, we have a variety of visions, experiences, amazing, and discerning intellect is intact, so we don't get carried away. We watch them, we accept them, and sometimes what happens, these visions and colors helps you to stay for a longer period. Why not? Helps you to stay in meditation for a longer period. If you, on a given day, you practice meditation and you feel like that, so always keep half an hour window with every practice every day, and that will take you deeper. You have to check yourself, you have to be independent. And now, either loudly or mentally, whatever works for you, it's okay. 3 times chanting Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. This is number stage 5. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So just check the mind after saying Shanti, Shanti 3 times, that the mind wants to continue to stay into that state. Wonderful. It wants to stay and then stay. That is another way. Stay in that state if mind likes to stay. Wonderful. And then now we can do the conscious withdrawals. Why? So that we can still maintain the same state. That is the way, that is why I say first be aware of the right hand, be aware of the left hand. And that training, educating the mind is going on from the very first session, but now we know its power. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences and bring the hands down. I will share our experiences now. So yes, if you are doing the practice on your own, then don't forget and see. Keep half an hour window. So that is another way to check that you are independent. Oh, I can stay here for a longer period. It is required. It is required, but it is mandatory for the seeker. Anyhow, let us start for sharing your experiences, David and Jerry.
Easter, the lesson for me was extremely freeing. I felt like I tapped into that ultimate space, and I became a very casual observer of not only the lesson or the practice, but also any thoughts that came and went. They just there was no attachment to it. There was just a very casual observation of everything going on. So thank you.
Beautiful. Casual observer. If that state is maintained throughout the day, then weeks, then months, then years, what happened? You're already there. Beautiful. How are you, Jen?
Thank you, sir. I'm good. That was a deep, peaceful meditation. Thank you.
Beautiful. How are you, Stephen?
Thank you, sir. I was completely absorbed in an absolute empty space with the only thing was your voice in the background and no thoughts from start to finish. So thank you.
Beautiful, yes. That is also the sign of being an observer. Expressions are different. It's always good, I have been telling you, that you contemplate more on what others share, how they share. You have the audio, you have the video. So that will help you to open up your discerning intellect. And that is what all our masters have done. In the Upanishads, we have select principles. Total principles, I would say, maybe 150. But if you compress it, it maybe comes out around 50. Further compress it, it comes to about 5 or 6. Further compress it, it comes to only one principle. What is that? What is real and what is unreal? Then it's finished. You are done. But we have to treat the path from all those steps to reach there. So my ego will boost. Oh, there's only one principle, real and unreal. I am into that. Saying that, you are already into unreal. How are you, Dennis?
Meditation was deep, calm, and peaceful. Endless space was there, awareness was there, continuity of awareness was there, and mind definitely wanted to remain in that state even after the chanting. Thank you.
You see, it's the same explanation of being an observer, a witness. Mind wants to remain in that state. It is the same. It has left the likes and dislikes, it has left the superimpositions. What is that state? It is that we are discovering. How are you, Christina?
Thank you so much. I noticed the difference between attaching to like being part of my breath versus observing the breath. So even this idea of eviction needs to happen there around, like, instead of becoming the breath, pulling back and observing it.
Yeah. What you are saying is very important. I said the flow of the breath, watch, but somewhere the mind comes. Either it's a default mind or the discerning intellect comes, oh, let me adjust, let me change a bit, let me feel it. So in the beginning it happens, and then after the regular practice, the mind now does not interfere. My master used to say just 3 minutes. You are aware of the flow of the breath only for 3 minutes, you will have a meditative state. A lot of thought enters into the mind, it changes. We don't recognize those changes in the flow of the breath now, but as you continue, mind becomes subtle, you will recognize. Your recognition means you are progressing. Sir, any thought that comes to your mind?
नमस्ते सर।
नमस्ते
सर और तो है कि पीस जो ना दैट इज द टू टाइप्स कहेंगे या क्या टू स्टेट्स हैं कि एक तो एक्टिव है एक पैसिव है। जो समा बताया दैट इज एक्टिव एंड शांति इज फैमिली। So we have to be peace in action and as well as in passive. I mean, when we are not in action, so active state has to be in peace. That is sama. And
laziness is the best thing to be in passive peace.
Okay.
So you have to differentiate between the two.
Laziness has to be differentiated with the peace, with passive peace.
Default mind says, be lazy. I'm already in peace. But that does